What's up, Football Daily, and Happy New Year. To kick off 2022, we've put together 10 predictions for the coming 12 months. Let us know what you make of them in the comments below for a shout out on Sunday Vibes, and come back in December to see how many we've got horribly wrong. Let's go. 10. Man United to hire Mauricio Pochettino. While the interim appointment of Ralf Rangnick hasn't been the quick fix that some fans had hoped it would be, it has at least laid bare the problems that exist at Man United even more clearly, with reports of a divided dressing room and resistance to new training methods coming to light following poor performances and results. One thing that this also highlights is that the club needs a permanent world-class coach to take over at the end of the campaign, even if Rangnick can pull the side out of its current slump. And if history is anything to go by, then Mauricio Pochettino is going to be that coach. The former Tottenham manager is enduring a difficult campaign at PSG. Despite sitting 13 points clear at the top of Ligue 1 at the halfway stage, glory in the Champions League has long been the priority of the club's ownership, and is even more of an expectation since the arrival of Lionel Messi. On top of this, he seems to have a strained relationship with sporting director Leonardo, and is still living in a hotel almost a year after taking the job. So Poch should be gettable this summer, and considering United have approached him twice before, it's likely he will be first choice once again. Erik ten Hag is the other potential candidate most strongly linked with the job, but given Poch is reportedly interested in the role, plus his Premier League experience, we reckon it'll be him taking the reins from Rangnick this summer. 9. Real Madrid to sign Kylian Mbappé. Arguably the most obvious shout on this list, it's long seemed inevitable that Kylian Mbappé will end up at Real Madrid sooner or later. And following the Spanish giants' failed pursuit of him last summer, when they had a reported €220 million offer rejected by PSG, it's generally been felt that the young star will simply join them for free when his contract expires at the end of the season. Mbappé made clear his desire to leave the Parc des Princes in 2021, and while the January move is off the table, he is now free to sign a pre-contract with Los Blancos, with the probability of him penning a new deal in France currently looking very low. And while the prospect of him linking up with Benzema and Vinicius Jr. at the Bernabeu is mouth-watering, how PSG will move on from him is arguably more interesting. He leads the squad for goals, assists and minutes played this term, with his 17 goal involvements accounting for almost half the team's total output. And while the club made a big effort to balance the side in the last transfer window, he will clearly be a big miss up top, with both Messi and Neymar facing spells on the sidelines this term. 8. Inter to win Serie A. After losing Antonio Conte, Romelu Lukaku and Achraf Hakimi in the summer and unable to properly reinvest the money they made from the latter two's departures, Internazionale's title defence looked precarious before the season had even started. But midway through the campaign, and the free transfers of Edin Dzeko and Hakan Çalhanoğlu look like strokes of genius, while Simone Inzaghi feels like an ideal successor to Conte in the dugout, not veering too far from his predecessor's shape and style, but taking a more pragmatic approach to managing a well-drilled, well-driven group. As a result, they are an even more dangerous attacking force than before, with their shots per game rising from 14.5 to 17.4, the fourth best average in Europe's top 5 leagues. Dzeko has already bettered his goal and assist output from last season, and Çalhanoğlu is well on his way to doing so too. Meanwhile, Lautaro Martinez is in the form of his life, generating 0.93 expected goals per 90, up from 0.55 last season, and marginally more than Erling Haaland is managing this term. At the other end, their now well-established back three of De Vrij, Skriniar and Bastoni have helped them concede fewer than any side bar Napoli. They may be only 4 points clear at the top as this goes out, while just 8 points separates them from 4th placed Atalanta, but even in the most hotly contested title race in Europe's top 5 leagues, Inter look best equipped to retain the Scudetto. 7. Tottenham to qualify for the Champions League or win a trophy. It's been a strange 12 months at Tottenham, but finally there appears to be a light at the end of the tunnel with Antonio Conte now in charge. He's yet to have them performing on a consistent basis, but the early signs are promising. At the time of writing, they're 5 points off 4th place with 2 games in hand, and also have an EFL Cup semi-final against a depleted Chelsea coming up. Conte's 3-4-2-1 system seems to suit the players at his disposal, and we've seen elevated performances from the likes of Lucas Moura, Oliver Skipp and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in particular. If Harry Kane can start firing on a regular basis again, then Spurs will be a force to be reckoned with once more. And while Arsenal are going through arguably their best spell of form under Arteta right now, they can definitely be caught. The same goes for Man United, who are experiencing some serious teething issues under Ralf Rangnick, while it remains to be seen if West Ham's squad can stay the course of the campaign. Conte has shown himself to be one of the very best at navigating a league season, and the club's exit from the Europa Conference League will also give them much needed breathing space at the business end of the campaign. A return to the Champions League or some long-awaited silverware is well within their grasp. 6. Borussia Mönchengladbach to sack Adi Hütter. 2021 was a year to forget for fans of Borussia Mönchengladbach. Following a promising start to the 2020-21 season, they took just 18 points from their final 16 Bundesliga games to finish 8th, their lowest placing in 3 years, and also had to contend with the announcement of Marco Rosa's departure 3 months before the campaign's end. Adi Hütter, who built a reputation for squeezing maximum output from his attacking players at Salzburg, Young Boys and Frankfurt, seemed like an outstanding candidate to replace him. But he's been unable to stop the rot at Borussia Park. While his side ranks second in the league for shots behind Bayern Munich and are generating more expected goals per 90 than last season, they sit just 2 points above the relegation playoff after 17 games, and have conceded 4 or more goals in 4 different fixtures, including a 6-0 humiliation at the hands of Freiburg. Their current position may not be a totally fair reflection of their performances, but they look far from great, and for a club which was contesting the knockout stages of the Champions League less than 12 months ago, this is simply not good enough. If results don't improve quickly, we can see Hütter getting the chop. 5. Robert Lewandowski to retain the European Golden Shoe. At the start of the season, we tipped Erling Haaland to take the European Golden Shoe ahead of Robert Lewandowski, whose record 41-goal haul in the Bundesliga last term lands him the award for the first time in his career. But it already looks like the Norwegian striker won't be able to catch his bully rival, with Lewandowski already on 19 league goals for the campaign and Haaland 6 behind him on 13. Had he not missed 6 games through injury, the 21-year-old may well have been level or even ahead of him by now, having only failed to score in 3 of 11 appearances for Borussia Dortmund. Levy's closest rivals right now are Patrick Schick and Dusan Vlahovic on 16, but considering that neither Bayer Leverkusen or Fiorentina produced chances at anywhere near the same rate as Bayern, he should be safe from those two. Mo Salah, currently on 15, looks his most viable challenger, with Liverpool ranking second to the Bavarians in Europe's top 5 leagues for shots per game. But depending how far Egypt progress in the AFCON, he too could miss a sizable portion of matches. Right now, Lewandowski looks odds on to keep his crown. 4. Burnley to get relegated. The Premier League's great survivors of recent years, Burnley have been tipped for relegation almost every season since returning to the top flight in 2016, and have always managed to escape it despite working with the smallest transfer budget in the division. But 2022 may finally be the year they go down. They ended last season in terrible form, losing 7 of their final 9 games and finishing on 39 points, their lowest tally since relegation in 2015. As for this term, they've won just once so far, boast just 6 different goal scorers, and following a number of COVID-related postponements, have a big backlog of fixtures to catch up with in the new year. If the second half of the campaign looks anything like the first, then Sean Dyche's side will finish the season on just 28 points, which has never been enough to survive in the Premier League era. Unless top scorer Maxwell Cornet can return from the AFCON and hit 10 goals, it could be a grim few months for the Lancashire outfit. 3. Juventus to sack Max Allegri. While scraping 4th place was clearly not considered good enough by the Juventus hierarchy, Andrea Pirlo's first and only season in charge of Juventus was arguably underrated. His side scored more and conceded less than they did the previous term when they finished as Serie A champions under Maurizio Sarri, while players like Alvaro Morata and Juan Cuadrado hit some of their best ever form. And now, with the side missing the consistent productivity of Ronaldo up top, the returning Max Allegri seemingly has few answers to the problems his predecessor faced. Dejan Kulusevski has been given only minimal game time to justify his €35 million price tag, while he hasn't been able to get the best out of the previously talismanic Federico Chiesa. The defence has generally held up at least, with Juve conceding the 3rd fewest goals and 2nd fewest expected goals in Italy, but the attack is seriously dry, with 10 other teams, including newly promoted Empoli, scoring more than them despite the riches they still possess up front. Their form has stabilised recently, albeit against some of the very worst sides in the division, and they now sit just 4 points off the Champions League places. But with Serie A's top 8 so competitive, there's no guarantee Juve will even make 5th. With games against Napoli, Roma, Atalanta and Milan in the next 6 weeks, Allegri is going to come under increasing pressure unless he can turn things around fast. 2. Erling Haaland to join Man City. The future of Erling Haaland is going to dominate the football news cycle to an unbearable degree over the next few months, with his release clause kicking into effect in June and a host of Europe's top clubs set to go in for him. As this goes out, it's not even certain that he'll leave the Westfalenstadion, with Dortmund reportedly offering to double his wages to keep him for an extra year. But should he leave as expected, PSG, Man City, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich currently look his most likely destinations, and all have their pros and cons. With Mbappe set to leave Paris, the Parc des Princes will be crying out for a new figurehead, although a move to the Bernabeu could see him link up with the French superstar in the Spanish capital, but only if they're able to afford them both. Bayern meanwhile offer a well-trodden route out of BVB and the opportunity to partner Lewandowski before replacing him. But Man City seems like the most logical next step. Haaland would get to work under Pep Guardiola in what could be his final year at the Etihad, slot into one of the most well-established systems in the European game, and honour the legacy of his father by playing in the Premier League. With City making a sizable profit on Ferran Torres, they now have the justification to spend what is needed on the world's most exciting centre-forward. And unlike most elite clubs which are incredibly difficult to get out of, the English champions have demonstrated a willingness to sell their star players when they want to leave. But where do you see him ending up? Let us know in the comments. 1. Spain or Germany to win the World Cup. The Qatar World Cup may be over 11 months away, but that doesn't mean we can't make an early prediction. And while it's hard to choose between the two, we reckon it'll be either Spain or Germany who lift the coveted trophy. Germany may have endured a terrible Euro 2020, but look a side reborn under Hansi Flick, who helped mastermind Die Mannschafts' victory at Brazil 2014. The former Bayern coach is yet to face any seriously good opposition competitively, but he has won all 7 of his games in charge, with his side scoring an astounding 31 goals and conceding just once in that time. He has an embarrassment of riches on the wings and in midfield, and with the likes of Musiala, Wirtz and Adeyemi coming through, their new generation looks pretty frightening. Spain, meanwhile, haven't been the most consistent outfit under Luis Enrique, but looked comfortably the best side at the Euros once they got going in the knockout stages. Defence has also been a problem at points, but if they can begin putting away the multitude of chances they create with more efficiency, then they should be able to outscore any opponent they face. And with the manager having thrown a number of teenagers into the setup over the last 12 months, they have squad depth to rival even France. Les Bleus, as well as Brazil and England, must also be considered among the favourites, but there's something about these Spain and Germany sides that tickles our fancy. So those were our 10 predictions for 2022, but do you have any of your own? Get at us in the comments below and we'll do our best to reply. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and subscribe to Football Daily if you haven't done so already. Have a happy new year and we'll see you next time.